Welcome to the Navigating Digital Payments podcast, brought to you by Worldline, bringing you the latest innovations, trends, and predictions about the future of payments.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Navigating Digital Payments podcast. I'm David Daly. I look after the scientific community here at Worldline, and we have another bonus episode for you today where we are talking to the FinTech Safe, who are one of the winners of the recent ePayments Challenge social media contest. Our subject today and what we're going to be discussing with them is, will biometrics replace PINs? So I'm delighted to be joined by two people from Safe. We've got Andre Coelho, who is the co-founder and CEO of Safe. Hi, Andre.
Hi, David. Thanks a lot for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you with us, Andre. And we're also joined by Giovanni Chiacchia, who is the co-founder, chief scientist and CTO of Safe. Giovanni, great to have you here too.
Yeah, likewise, Dave. Hi, very nice to be here.
Great to have you here too, Giovanni. And just like the previous bonus episode, we've also got Ina Kostiuk joining us, who is the global partner manager for the merchant services part of the Worldline business. Hi, Ina. Great to have you here again.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to join.
So today, I thought it would be, first of all, good to hear from you, Andre and Giovanni, what you saw as the opportunity or the challenges around biometrics. Then, Ina, it would be good to hear from you what else you're seeing happening in the market around biometrics for payments. And then I also, of course, want to hear a little bit about the experience that Safe had in the ePayments Challenge, and also your thoughts on some predictions or ideas for what important future trends are going to be. So, Andre, perhaps I can come to you first and ask you, what was the need you saw in the market around facial recognition and how that led you to set up Safe?
Thanks, David, for the question. It's a bit funny that back in 2015, I was in south of France for holidays in a French Riviera, and I went for a sunglass store, and I was going to the beach also, and for that reason, I was without my wallet, and that store was inside my hotel, and the seller, a very good seller, said, "It's okay, I remember your face. You can take the sunglasses and go to the beach and you pay this later." Because of that, I had the idea to create an app that you can pay with your face. But this actually is not Safe. Safe is much more than that. Actually, we are a fintech offering facial recognition for financial services authentications. And we decided to be providing these biometrics for financial service authentications when we applied for NIST, which is the most important certification for the facial biometric industry. And we had very good performance among the 15 best results in the world. So in that moment, in 2018, we started providing our technology not only for payments, in-store payments, but also as an anti-fraud for online payments, and further for internet banking and open banking authentications. That's what we do now as a facial recognition provider.
Wow. So that's a fascinating, I love the story that you've told there about coming really from real life. And it's so true that so much of what we try to do in technology, I think, relates to the kind of experiences and interactions that are very natural when you're dealing with people face to face or in person. So that is interesting to hear. Ina, could I come to you next? And I suppose this whole topic of a shift towards biometric methods of authentication, of identification, that I know that's something certainly in the scientific community. We covered that in our paper on in-store payments reimagined. Maybe you could share a little bit around what other developments you're seeing in the market around that space.
Yeah, absolutely. And we observe that automatic stores are booming in Europe as well as in Asia and in the US. And with the recent opening of Lidl automatic store in London, they joined the team of Amazon and Tesco for that type of services. It's one of the proof that users would like to have a different experience especially after pandemic, when you go to the store, you actually want to have secure experience. You're not necessarily really would like to touch something or pay with your card, put your PIN code on a terminal, for example. And also, that's why merchant needs to rethink their way of providing services. So, is in a parallel of that, we also see from some reports that element like payment methods and facial recognition in addition help to increase the revenue for the merchant. And now I would like to ask you, Andrea or Giovanni, if you have seen or you have already proven experience for merchant when they're using the service of Safe, they get an increase of their revenue.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things we see, because we have an actual supermarket doing in-store facial payments in Colombia, and we see like some recurrency pattern from the users that, go into that experience one time and then tend to, once they start using it, they tend to keep using at a regular pace. So that's very, very interesting. So there's this entrance barrier, which is, the switch in their mind. So let me start paying like this. But once they switch, it seems that, they have a consistent behavior.
So in other words, it helps to have a recurrent customers.
Yeah, that's correct. That's what we've been seeing. And interesting, elderly people, they tend to use the service more often than young people. It's something we find very interesting as well.
Yeah, I was going to mention this together with Giovanni. It's really interesting because not only the young people or millennials that were the first one to start using, because to onboard you need to onboard yourself through the app, but as this solution makes the user experience mainly for older people, as Giovanni was mentioning, because of carrying things or as you know, in the cashier moment, you need to get your wallet in your purse or to get your smartphone. For older people, those kinds of movements are harder, mainly when they are holding some or having to deal with things and food. So for older people, it looks like the user experience is really good. And that's what we had from the KPIs, the insights and the results from the supermarket that we are already 3 years scaling already for more than 10 stores, large stores. We really trust that those kinds of environments, what we call controlled environments from large chains like supermarket chains, they are the best ones. Not only because it's controlled, as we said, in terms of the cashier, the user experience, the in-store experience, but mainly because of the loyalty programs also. Those kinds of supermarket chain or large chains, they have normally those loyalty programs where you can enroll the person through the app with a selfie.
And what I was interested to understand from you, with that experience that you have, what would you say are some of the challenges or the difficulties in adoption of facial recognition in that scenario?
Well, I would say we have actually two challenges, right? One is radical change in terms of user experience, right? People are not used to pay without anything. The industry has been calling this even like a naked payments. So it's the ability to pay without anything, right? You don't have to hold your wallet or smartphone, whatever, smartwatch, whatever. So this is one barrier, I believe, simply because it changes a day-to-day experience, right? And we're not used to these type of changes in our routine. And the other big challenge, I think, is data privacy, right? Issues. people are really concerned about this. The regulators are really concerned. And I think there is more concern than an actual problem, I would say, right? Because you can deliver a solution like this one, really being totally compliant with data, with information security and data privacy, right? We don't actually need any kind of raw data for matching someone's face. It can be all encrypted. It can be all anonymized. And but to communicate this in a very clean and effective way is not that easy, and it's our role actually.
If I may dive a little bit deeper with that, because we had a discussion internally where we were saying that the face has a special significance, I think, in people's minds, and it's because of the fact that that's how we recognize each other in the real world. So to clarify that, I guess if you showed me just a picture of a fingerprint, I wouldn't have a clue if that was yours or Ina's or anywhere else. But you show me a face and I can say, oh yes, that's Ina or that's Giovanni. And I think what you're saying though is that the way you do it is you don't store a photo and compare the picture you're seeing on the camera with the photo each time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. We don't actually need to store the photo, right? We basically, in order to compare, because you want to deliver some experience where the person is able to pay without anything, right? So we cannot even rely on their smartphone for doing some sort of matching. Remember our baseline for in-store payments, at least in SAFE, we say the baseline is NFC payments, right? This is the fastest thing you can have in store at the moment, right? We need to be as fast, we need to be as convenient or even more convenient, and we need to be at least at the same level of security. And facial biometrics can deliver actually increased security. So you do need to have, if you want to match my face against a previously enrolled version of my face, you need to have it stored somewhere, right? But you actually don't need the image. You can have like what people call a hash or a biometric template, but this information you cannot derive from this information the original face, right? It's a one-way function. You transform the image into something that people cannot play with, right? It's just for the purpose of matching a face. So that's the type of architecture in solutions like the one we have in Colombia and in other places. So in order to answer your question in a more concise manner, yes, what you need to store is not the image. It's something that is you cannot go back from the to the image with that information. Is totally anonymized. And you cannot replay. Say you have a template, a biometric template, the way we have. You cannot replay. You cannot, show the template to the camera back, trying to authenticate Giovanni. It's not like that's not an image. It's like a bunch of numbers and characters.
Okay, it looks like that you tackle the biggest question of Gartner, who raised it a few years ago that, okay, we see this spike growth of biometrics, but we still have some challenges in voice authentication and facial recognition. So now once you already step ahead with it, how do you plan or what is your ambitions to grow in Europe?
Yeah, Europe is, as you know, a place where GDPR is actually a barrier for us, but we adjust our solution and servers and infrastructure for the GDPR since we started offering our services in Europe. So we do have the right servers and the right services for Europe. As you know, there are many requirements for Germany, for specific countries there, and we cover all these requirements. So we really want to put this technology and facial recognition payment solution live in Europe, but we know we need a partner as Worldline for that.
Thank you, Andre. And that maybe brings brings us on nicely to another question I was really dying to ask you. So, as I mentioned at the start, you guys were involved in the e-payments challenge that was hosted by Worldline at the end of January. Just really interested to hear maybe a few thoughts or pieces of feedback about how you found that experience.
Well, I attended one of the challenges. I thought overall the event was really well organized. The platform was great. We could interact in a very rich manner with everybody, all the parties involved.
And just to mention that was our third time participating in the e-payments challenges, and it's always evolving. It every year gets better. Not only the participants, but for the very good organization from Worldline, and this year with Be My App as a partner, as Giovanni mentioned, with a very good platform, we were able to participate as a company, as a very lean startup, in 4 challenges because of this very good and stable platform.
I know the team worked, they'll be delighted to hear that, because I know the team worked really, really hard. And also with COVID restrictions, some things had to be changed right at the last minute. But I think they'll be very pleased to hear that feedback, Andre. Thank you. Just to finish off then, could I pick your brains on one last point, which is what interesting trend or topic do you think there is starting to develop now, maybe not getting so much attention, that you think is going to become really significant in the future?
Yeah, as Giovanni said, we trust more than everyone in the naked payments concept. We see this happening very soon. We started to trust at this concept when we founded the company back in 2015, but we know now in 2022 this is the moment. As Ina mentioned, after COVID, there is even this requirement for contactless solutions. What we can say is that facial recognition payments is really secure. There are different levels, of course, of security and environments. You can pay with just your face once you pay in your local store that you pay every day. But if you go to a different place, you can be asked also for your face and then to type your phone number, for example, as is also a flow that we use, but also what is being scaling in China. So that's the concept that we can bring here. Of course, as Ina said, there must be options. We trust that the options are already there. The most evolved one is facial recognition, but QR code is a good option for ones who has battery and using the smartphone. Also, fingerprints can be also. There is the difficulty of the readers because cameras is everywhere, but fingerprints, there are some very good use cases for this. So the options will be there, but biometrics are for sure one of the payment methods authentications in the future. It's already here.
Sure, yeah. There is that famous quote, the future's already here, it's just not very widely distributed yet, I think is the line. And maybe that's where we're at with biometrics.
That's right.
Giovanni, did you have any other predictions or future trends you wanted to share?
The same line as Andrea, naked payments and a little bit further invisible payments. But all that, it's a little bit, looks like a bit creepy, but it can be and will be delivered in a very privacy preserving way. I'm sure of that.
Super. Okay, well, I'm thinking now back to that question we started with, which was, will biometrics replace PINs? And I guess you two are firmly of the belief that it certainly will. And I wonder if actually to some extent it already is, if we look in the market and what Ina was saying. I really want to thank you all. So thank you, Andre, for joining us.
Thanks to you, David.
And Giovanni as well.
Yeah, I love the chat. Thanks a lot.
Likewise. And Ina, of course, great to have you with us too.
Thank you. I really enjoyed. Thank you, David.
So we are back with the next regular episode, which will be, will digital currencies take over the world? A question I'll be discussing with David Carney at Worldline. If you would like to get in touch, you can let us know what topics you'd like us to talk about on future episodes of the podcast, or give us any feedback. Just email us on ndp-podcast@worldline.com. Please take a moment to subscribe, leave us a review, and then that just leaves me to thank you, the listener, for joining us again for navigating digital payments.
Thank you for listening to the Navigating Digital Payments podcast, brought to you by Worldline. Join us next time to learn more about the latest innovations, trends, and predictions for the future of payments.